talking about what? Data model, right? Data model. So it is a state data model. The schemas, right? The schema and the table spaces, right? It's from 11. So we'll continue this and then we'll also look at file system. So we discuss about like these users we have for GL, AB, AR, right? These are called product specific schemas. Product specific schema. For every module, for every product there is one schema. For inventory, IND. For GL, right? But for all technology model, what's the name of your user? Username. For all technology modules, Apple sys. Which is the user for all technology module tables? Apple sys. And which is the super user? Apps. Here. Application. Apps is a super user, right? So again, let's see this. Now you have to have this picture very clear. So these are product specific schema. Please note on that. Product specific schemas. So as we already discussed, GL, AB, AR, fixed asset, inventory, PO, order management, HR, and then we have Apple sys is there, right? Apps. So exactly, if you see, like here we have, you must know that here you have what? Tables, indexes, sequences, and maybe materialized, what do you call the queues, if required, the queues will be there. Same here. And then here you have all AOL what? AOL tables, indexes, all sequences for AOL. Even for what? For AD. And how do you identify AOL tables? The prefix is what? FLD. How do you identify? FLD. And for AD? AD. But what we said that like all the tables are granted to what? Apps. So how Oracle people have achieved integration? How did Oracle achieve integration here? How all the models are integrated? So you know that actually this the integration will be always at the backend side. Okay. So schema level, user level. So one user can access the data of another user, you say data or tables, when the table is granted. But here if you see, there is no intergrant. The tables are not granted between these users. You know what happens actually? If there is an intergrant, then it is going to become a very complex. So without granting the tables, how Oracle has achieved integration? Oracle has achieved integration by granting all the tables to one common schema called apps, through a common schema, apps. So here we have all the tables, all the tables. Like for example, if you take some example, like say you must know some of the name of the tables, like information about all the vendors is here, PO vendors, okay, PO information about purchase order, PO headers all, PO lines all, at least few names, and then information about invoices, Purchase order information is here. When a purchase order is entered, invoice information is here. AP. These are application tables. AP invoices all. AP payments all. Then information about employees is in HR for all people. It is here, and these all tables are actually granted to what? Apps. So all these tables, all the tables for all, including these, will be granted to what? Apps. With full privilege. Grant all on table name. Full privileges. And not only all the tables are granted, for every granted table, the synonym will be created by same name. So based on these grants, what will be there in apps? Synonyms. For example, synonyms names will be same. For example, here in apps you have these synonyms are there. Look at what are the synonyms are there here in apps. So what are the synonyms are there? This PO, vendors, AP, invoices, all. Just example. All these tables, all table for every, all thousands of tables are here. For every table there is one synonym. So this is, let's say, this is a table. PO vendor is a table, but this is what? Synonym. So all tables are granted and synonyms are created. Okay. All tables are granted and synonyms are created. And at runtime, all the application modules will be connected to an app schema. And app schema provides access to any table. Okay. So all the tables are available in one user. That is apps. In GL, only you have GL tables. In PO, only PO tables, purchasing tables. So when the front-end application, you say interface or the code, whatever. When that application is connecting backend, the front-end purchasing application interface is connecting backend to PO schema. It can access only PO tables. It cannot access other tables. That's why all the modules actually connect to which schema? App schema. It can access any required tables. So that's why we say that it is a universal schema because it has access to all the tables. Every single table you can access from apps. Tables are here, they are granted and based. So synonym is what? A short name. Synonym. Actually, you know that if one user grant a table to another user, and then the grantee, if he wants to access the table, then he must always prefix the name of the grantor. Isn't it? Select star, like for example from apps, how you can access this table PO vendors from apps? Select star from PO.PO vendors. PO.PO vendors. But we should not, like, if you don't need to use that owner, then a synonym will be created. A synonym is nothing but short name. A short name. Synonyms. Normal synonyms. See, what is the table name? PO vendors. What is synonym name? PO vendors. Now, in apps, how you can access that? Not by prefixing the owner name, just by name. Actually, in application code, what is the name of the table mentioned? PO vendors, not PO.PO vendors, PO vendors. So when application is connected to apps, it expects the name should be PO vendors. One example I give. But if this table is granted, no, it cannot be. That's why synonym must be used. So at the time of installation, all the users will be created, all the schema will be created, all the object schema, the users are created, and this is called schema. This is exactly called schema or GL data model. GL, you can call GL data model, only GL data model, or this is called GL schema also. and that's a universal scheme. This is only inventory. This is only purchasing. This is only O&D, order management. Separate for every 200 users, 200 products or modules, 200 users. Apps will be common. Now, this part and the next. Now see here. You see, where is the PL SQL code? You know, there is a lot of PL SQL code is used here. Java code is used here. Like PL SQL packages, application make very extensive use of PL SQL code. So PL SQL code means PL SQL packages, procedures will be stored in the database, and application will be calling those procedures. Now, if you look at the PL SQL procedures are used by GL module, GL and these and these things. But you know where PL SQL codes are maintained here? Because I said that all the application modules are going to connect to which schema? App schema. That's why it is called runtime schema also. And all the PL SQL code is maintained here in app schema. So app schema contains all what? Grant, synonym, plus what does app schema contain? It contains, in short, you can say PL SQL code. PL SQL code means what? PL SQL packages, procedures, functions, triggers, and not only PL SQL code, it also contains Java code, Java classes, and not only this, even it contains views and materialized views. Views and materialized views. So what does apps contain? For every product specific schema, for all the schemas, all the grants and synonyms, and for every module, all the module PL SQL code, like all these, and then the Java classes, views and materialized views. So where are the views of GL apps? Where are the views or materialized views of inventory apps? For every module, all the views or materialized views, you can say, have been centralized. The reason is this. Because at one time all the modules are going to connect to apps, that's why PL SQL code must be maintained there. And why views are not, look at here clearly. The product specific schema, GL, whatever, all. Only tables, indexes, sequences, no views are there. Because generally a view or a materialized view is based on multiple tables. And for example, can we create a view in GL? Can we create a view in GL which is based on two tables of different user? No, because there is no integration. Isn't it? If you see here, can GL create a view on, or say, can AP, this user, AP is a user, can AP create a view on invoices and PO vendors? No. Because from this user, AP user, you can access only these tables, not those tables. But because all tables have been granted to what? Apps, any view can be easily created in apps. So apps is a runtime schema, it contains universal schema, it is an application super user, it contains grants, synonyms, PL SQL code, Java procedures, and views, materialized views. Okay. And you have to remember, I'm going to give you some of the important names of the AO tables. AO table and AD tables, of course, you have to know more. But you people also have to know some of these tables also. Like where is the information about employees are maintained? Employees and customers for all people, F. Where is the information about supplier? PO vendors. Information about invoices, PO invoices. Some names. These users are fixed. These tables are fixed. In 11.9 and R12, there is hardly change, no change. Only addition will be there. New tables, new schema, but existing table names and all that is same. So exactly who must know these tables? Who must have good information about these tables? Developers. developers, technical developers, apps technical developers. They must have good knowledge. As we need to have knowledge about these FND tables, the developers, they have to know good knowledge about this. When they are writing a custom report, so they are picking up data from these tables. So okay, Apple says apps and this.
How about the naming of PLSQL objects in the main scheme?
What's that?
The naming for all PLSQL code objects. Like for table, synonym is created. For PLSQL objects,
Nothing is created. PLSQL directly packages are there, and those PLSQL packages are directly there in app schema. At runtime, the module, the front-end application module, the code will call it. That's it.
nothing like prefixing.
Nothing report. And that is, you don't need to worry about the naming convention or that. Why? Because they are maintaining a standard. Because application code knows. And we as an app developer, we don't need to know this. Please bother. But we must know that all the PLSQL codes are there in apps. For all the models. So whenever you are looking for any PLSQL package for GL, AP, AR or AOL, where you find? In apps. All the PLSQL packages in apps. So actually you must understand this picture when we say the runtime schema. So actually if you look at that, here we have a model called Oracle General Ledger, right? The short we call SQL or SQL. It is called SQL, it is GL or full name is SQLGL. It is called SQL or SQLGL. So there is a model called Oracle General Ledger. And what is the name of the schema? GL. And we have model, let's say Oracle Payables, AP or SQL AP, the short name. What is the name of the schema? AP. You have a model called Oracle Inventory. The short name is Inventory, schema name is also Inventory. But look at that, at the runtime, all the connected to one. Apps. Any module, you talk about Oracle Order Management, Oracle Order Management. The short name is ONT, schema is ONT. Every single module connects to app schema. It's how users are going to connect to this module through responsibilities, right? So responsibility will connect to which schema always? Apps. So responsibility always connects to which schema? Apps. Whether the module is general ledger or payables or procurement or any application module, the responsibility will always make backend connection to which schema? To which schema? Apps. So the backend will be always apps because apps is a universal schema. And only the problem with apps is a security problem. This app schema must be fully secure. You should not allow anybody to directly access what? App schema. Because app schema give you complete data. Even if it is a test also, you should not allow, because test is a copy of production. You should not allow any developer to directly access app schema even in a test environment. So there is like some security problem with app schema. If somebody is going to directly connect to the data, directly. From the front end, you don't need to worry because front end it is responsibility. So front end is not an issue. E-business suite security model is implemented through responsibility. E-business suite security model is implemented through responsibility. Responsibility is a security model. If a user has GL responsibility, it is impossible for a user to access any model. Then he has to secretly learn hacking. Then he has to become a hacker. Otherwise it is not possible. Yeah, we can easily use the word possible. Yes, no problem, possible. It is not possible as a normal user, it is impossible to access any model. If there is one responsibility, GL. Then secretly if he has become a hacker, then I can't. Otherwise it is, so that's what the security model. Security, that's a responsibility.
We assign GL responsibility to one user and we want to restrict it furthermore.
Oh, yeah, of course. Everything you can, the responsibility itself is called access control. The idea about the responsibility is access control. Everything you can, within the one module, user should not access these things. That can also be done through responsibilities. Yes. So anyway, that is again going to discuss more in system module responsibility. This picture just to show that This is ops is called what? It's basically called what? Runtime schema. Runtime schema. Runtime user. Runtime schema. Universal schema. Runtime schema. Runtime user. If there are 100 users are basically connected, there are 100 application users are connected. 100 application users. When you look into $B session view, there is a column username. Which column? What is the name you will find there? Cars. How many times? 100 times. So when an application users is going to log in, see, application users, they log into PHP, personal home page, by using which account? Application account. But finally when they are getting a connection, they are getting connection to which account? Apps account. So, like from the browser, from the client machine, a user is accessing which account? Application accounts. These are application users, right? Application users. So then what exactly happens? Authentication takes place, right? Apache, then the code, authentication will take place, and user get connected to what? PHP. In that PHP, what is there? Response. So that means, let's say what is the username, application username? The application username is, say, let me say TZ1 is the application user. So authentication is done. Authentication is done, whether this application user exists or not. Okay, this application user is done. So this is which user? This user is what which user? This is application user. It is not a backend database user. So this application user information is maintained in AOL actually. It is maintained in AOL. Okay, in the database, if you look at in the database, in data dictionary, so here we have AOL is there, and then the table is there. Or what is the name of the table here? FND user. All the information about user is here. FND user. Your database users are here. Database underscore users. But application accounts are maintained here. It is not in data dictionary. It is in AOL. What is the table name? FND user. FND user. So application accounts are not part of data dictionary. This just now what we have discussed, the schema GL, AP, AR, these are database accounts. They are here in DB. So application accounts are here. So exactly the difference between database accounts and application accounts you understand. So this authentication is done. So exactly if you see, now at this point I just wanted to tell you a little more on this authentication, How this authentication is done, the Apache is going to do it with the help of running some code and all that, right? So actually, application user authentication. What is that? Application user authentication. After authentication, it is going to connect to what? PHP. First time user will enter username and password, and then authentication will take place. And after successful authentication, user get connected to what? PHP. So once user get connected to PHP means, oh, the application account has been verified. You are a valid user. You are a valid application user. So what authentication? What is the username? TZ. And the password is something ABC. Where is this information? It is here. What is the username? TZ. Password is ABC, something. It is in encrypted. Again, this application user password is also stored in encrypted form. It is in encrypted. And then all the database accounts are here. Okay, like for example, which is the super user I said here? Apps, GL, AP, dictionary. So look at here, how users are first. What happens till you connect to PHP, and when you connect to module, what happens? Two things. First PHP and then to the module. Two. Okay. So now this is not a database account. This is an application account. So user will enter this account, and then authentication will take place. So you can say exactly, you can give this credit to Apache because Apache is doing using internal code. So this Apache is going to pick up this file called DBC. The actual name is sid.dbc, default name sid.dbc file. This is called database connection file. In this DBC file, Apache will, for authentication, Apache is going to use this file, and using this file, it is going to connect to database. So this file provides the connection detail to the database. So in this file, we have a user information for authentication. So there is a one database account information in there. So it is called gateway user ID. And this gateway user ID name is called AppleSys Pub. AppleSys Pub. Even the password is default password is Pub. In which file? DBC file. So when the Apache is going to do authentication, it is going to pick up DBC file. DBC file provides the name and password of which user? Which user? Gateway user ID. This is what? Gateway user ID. And who is the gateway user ID? What is the name? AppleSys Pub, which is already here. What is the username? AppleSys Pub. So Apache pick up this DBC file, and then using this DBC file, Apache is going to connect to the database. What is that? Internally, it is all about servlet. It is going to connect to same thing: database, listener, and then instance, and then authentication will take place. So it is connecting to database as which user? AppleSys Pub. But looking for which user in the database for authentication? Which user? Name here. Clearly TZ. Isn't it TZ? Whether TZ is there or not. But TZ is not a database. So first it has to connect to database, then only look now. So to connect to database, what is required? Database account is required. Database user. And what is the database user name here? AppleSys Pub. So it is going to use AppleSys Pub. Okay, and then look into this table, FND user, and then it looks for this username password. Is it there? Yes. Yes, authentication is done. And then what Apache is going to give it to the client? PHP, personal home page. What personal home page is going to list out? The responsibilities. What a GL, AP. Now user has got connected to what? PHP. But which user? The user information, internal user is an application user. But how did the authentication is done? By connecting to which user? AppleSys Pub. Okay. So to perform authentication, Apache is connecting to the database as which user? AppleSys Pub, and it looks for application user in this table, FND user. And once it finds, authentication is done. And now this. If another user is going to log in, so again same thing. Again the authentication is done. The connection will be made to the database using this file, DBC file, and then it looks into this table whether the application user is there or not. So this picture I want to make you clear about your application accounts are different and your database accounts. So just now we are discussing e-business to data model means the database users, backend database, GL, APL. Now the next part you have to understand. The next. This is still the PHP. This is still PHP, up to PHP. So I wanted to discuss this now, not that time. Now you got it. So the file name is DBC. SID means if your instance is prod, the name will be prod.dbc, test.dbc. And this is gateway user ID, AppleSys Pub. And even you don't worry about, oh, this file has got this user, the password has been exposed. No, this user, I told you just which user is very critical from security point of view. Apps I said, right? But this user is no issue. A user with limited privileges. If anybody connect to the e-business suite database using this account, he can't do anything. He can't harm. But if anybody connect to database using apps, he can do anything. So this user has got no security, limited privileges. That's why for authentication application users, which account is used, which database account is used? AppleSys Pub. Okay. For authenticating application users, Apple SysPub database account is used. Okay? I think should I tell you to write down? That time you write, or if you feel you write. Will you listen to your feeling or you listen my words? You will follow your what? Your feeling will follow yours.
Yeah.
If you feel you write, write it. Otherwise you will forget it. It either you write means don't write it. Only write means write. Huh? What is that? For authentication application accounts, Apple SysPub database account is used. For authenticating application accounts, application user you can say. For authenticating application users, Apple SysPub account is used. Apple SysPub account is used. Apple SysPub database account, database user. Apple SysPub database account is used. That's Apple SysPub is a database user. Apple SysPub account is used. In the bracket, you note down, don't forget, this is a gateway user ID, default gateway user ID. You can change the username. You change that username. You change means it is not fixed. So gateway user, which is the default gateway user ID? Which is default gateway user ID? Apple SysPub. It can be changed. And we are going to discuss more about DBC file later. Just now here, only the connection, okay? Only for connection. And this connection is for what? For authentication. For. Now connection is, authentication is done. Authentication is done. Now user is connected to what? PHP. Now look at here. Now this responsibility, user will click responsibility. So just before what we discussed, a responsibility will always connect to which schema? App schema I said, right? Now see, now when you select the responsibility, it is going to connect the user to a particular application module, right? So now the connection is made to what? So when you select the responsibility, so for example, which responsibility? Say for example GL. And now user wants to access GL application. GL application. But is that, this is GL application, and what is the schema name? GL. But the database connection is made to which user? Apps. Okay. Now look at here. When you select GL, here who is coming into picture? That is already we discussed. Who is that? Apache. But once you select the responsibility GL, who is going to come into picture now? Form service. Form service. Now you recall we already discussed that. Form service is start a process. What is the process? Form process. And this form process is going to connect to the database. So when this form process is going to connect to database, which account is used here? And now it is using what? Apps. Again this will be authenticated. And after authenticated, you know what happened here? Server process will be started. And then this is for authentication, and then this is connection. So when this connection is established, what is the account is used here? Apps. So one user has login, only one user. One user has just now logged into a GL application. When one user logs into a GL application, here at the form service level, one form process started, and in the database one session is started, and this session is started with what? So in the database, if you look into this, in the database side, if you look into this $, session, in the username column, what name you will find here? Apps. But what is the username? Application username is what? TZ. And there is another user is going to connect. Say for example TZ2, another user. First time. Again Apache, then authentication. Again it will check whether the TZ user is there or not. And when the TZ user is found here, then PHP. Again in PHP, when the user select the responsibility, again the same thing. Responsibility means form service. Form service start form process. Again a session will be started. Again what is the session started with? Again what? One more what? One more apps. Of course the SID will be different. The SID, username will be same. The SID will be different for every session. SID, different SID. If there are 100 users have login, 100 application users are there. So you will find 100, suppose 100 session. So in $B session all username is what? Apps. But SID will be unique. So for every application user or for every application module, the backend user which is used for making connection is what? Apps. That's what basically. Just to tell you one point, that I say that all the connection, all the modules connect to app schema at runtime. So that's what I'm just telling you. Or just to clear the point that a responsibility connects to apps. Responsibility connects to apps. Which application you are accessing? It doesn't matter. Which application? No. Whether it is GL, AP, AR, whether it is a form based or iProcurement, anything. All application module make a connection to database through which schema? App schema. Okay, app schema. Because apps is a universal schema. Okay. Because apps contain all the required tables. This is just to tell you flow, that's it. Okay. You write in terms of your words. Okay. Responsibility connects to app schema, or all application connects to app schema. So exactly it is done at responsibility. Yeah? And you are going to see it practically later in sysadmin module. So where do we mention the name of app schema? You are going to see that also. The name of the app schema is mentioned where? Mentioned is where? At the responsibility. And when Apache is going to connect for authentication, where is the name of the Apple Sys account is mentioned? In DBC file. It is in DBC. In DBC file. That you must connect to this database for authentication as which user? Gateway user. And the default gateway user ID is Apple Sys. Even the password is, default password is PUB. So there are two things are there. First, users are getting connected to PHP. So once a user can get connected to PHP, there is no connection made to the database. No connection. But once user log in an application, when user is going to launch, when user is going to select the responsibility, then a connection is made to the database through which schema? App schema. So you look at it in two different parts, these two different things. At the same time, I just wanted to clear about this account called Apple Sys PUB. So for PHP, the authentication is done. The PHP, the authentication is done for application users. For PHP, to connect to PHP application. Okay. So for connecting to PHP, which is going to give you all the responsibility, which is going to provide you the list of responsibility. To connect to PHP, what is required? Application account. Application account. Okay. And to access an application modules, for application modules, what do you require? To access application modules, any application modules or products, it is fixed here. So for application module, what is there? Apps. But application accounts are so many, right? So you have got, the TZ1 application, it is created based on the employee names. Based on employee names. TZ1, TZ2, you have different accounts are there. TZ, if there are 1000 employees are there are 1000 accounts are there. So there are 1000 accounts are there. But final, when you are going to connect to any application module, this is fixed. This is fixed. This is you fixed. Understand? You're getting on? Final connection to database is what? Through apps. So to connect to PHP, application accounts. To connect to apps modules, database account. And database account means which account? Apps. Fixed. It is fixed here. Then what do you think? Where this database user Apple Sys coming to picture? Where Apple Sys is coming to picture? Apple Sys PUB.
By connecting from Apache server to the authentication process till we get the PHP. The information is.
So that is basically to authenticate an application user. A user account is required. Some user account is required, and that account is what? Apple's account.
Database is maintained in the database server or Apache server?
It's a database account. The name is maintained there. Name. It's a database account. In DBC file, you have a name. So I said Apple System is a database account. But how does Apache know the name of this account and the password? From DBC. So that means now you have to understand mainly three main users are there. We have this Apple Sys apps and then Apple Sys. So here you must understand that like this is fixed for what? This is what? This is what? This is gateway user ID fixed. And then who is the owner of all technology modules? The owner of technology modules, Apple Sys. The owner of all technology modules are backend data model, backend technology model, backend tables and whatever. Apple Sys. And which is a super user, application super user or universal schema. So it contains universal schema. Universal schema concept, right? Because everything is accurate. So that's why it is called application user. And this is what? Owner of technology modules tables. It contains all technology module data. Technology data model is nothing but you can say objects, physical data model, tables, indexes and all that. Data model means tables and indexes. So all the technology model tables and all will be in Apple Sys. The only important, the significance of this user Apple Sys Pub is just because it contains technology module table. That's it. But this is very critical from the operational part of it. Because every time which user is coming into picture, every time when a user login, every time when a user wants to access any module, which user? Apps. Who's making connection to database? Apps. And then for every time authentication is required, which user is coming into picture? Now clear. Now finally you don't, the picture flow is okay, but this is for authentication. These all are database accounts, database users. So this is for authentication. This is to maintain all the data model of technology module tables, and this is to provide a what? A universal schema, a common access, a common schema. Right? This is going to help what? To access any table of any model, apps. Right? So you think that is there any time during the time when users are accessing application, which accounts are coming into picture among these three? Is Apple Sys coming into picture? Is Apple Sys is used? No. Then only which users? For Apple Sys for authentication and to make connection apps. That's it. Apple Sys for only Apple Sys for Apple Sys is no. So only this is for authentication and this is for connection. That's it. Authentication, connection.
So basically FLDC contains the password, right? User information and password. FLDC underscore user.
Now the as you know that all the database accounts are maintaining data dictionary and there is a view called DB underscore users. Similarly, all application accounts are maintaining AOL and the name of the table is FND user.
what's the use of this? What is Apple's for this way?
Apples is yeah. For example, in a database, there is one table is there, and how you go and read that table. In a table, there is some information is there. There is some information is maintained. How you go and check that? You need an account, database account. If you want to connect to database, you need database account or not. So now, let's say Apache is going to perform authentication. So it needs to connect to what? Database first. And after connecting to database, it has to look into some table, whether this username and this you enter. So now the question, how it is connecting to database initially first? So it is connecting Apple system. And after connecting, what it is doing? It is looking into which table? FND underscore user. And what is that? That is normal application account. That is application account. So application account will be checked, verified from FND user. But using an application account, can you directly connect to database? Using an application account, can you connect to database? Don't think, yeah. You think people will create doubt on you. Somewhere you don't need a quick one. How can you connect to database using application account? You cannot create, you can't connect to database by application account. Application accounts connect to application. So for example, FND table there is a user is there. Can you use that user to connect directly to database, say for using SQL class directly? No. So to connect to database we need what? Database users, database accounts we need. And where these accounts are maintained? In data dictionary. So this is one of the database account.
Is there a way that if you create in apps like application, if you create in backend, like a database, if you create an app application, if you create one user in application,
Okay.
it will, is there a way that it will create in a backend for like database account?
All the application accounts information is maintained in the database. But where? Separately. It is maintained in AOL. It is not part of data dictionary. It is maintained in AOL. AOL means FND tables. So that means they are not part of data dictionary. They are in database, but they are not part of data dictionary. Okay. And if you want to connect to database, you need database accounts. That means from data dictionary. Okay. So they are created in database, of course. So whenever you create application accounts, it is going to be stored in this table, FND underscore user.
So once the authentication is done, this user session will be running or it will be terminated. Apple says pub.
See, now you should understand that this is only initially used for authentication. That's it. After that, there is no rule.
So it will be
See,
terminated by Apache.
we have been talking about connection. The connection is apps. So that means the connection will be maintained by apps. So once authentication is done, finished. So there is something called, you can call it like, this is stateful, stateless connection. So Apache makes stateless connection. Means it doesn't maintain a connection. Apache connects, perform authentication, finish. Okay? But once user log into a module, GL module, then what is the connection is made to the, to which user the connection is made to the database? Apps. A connection is made to apps. How long? How long? As long as the user is connected. When a user log into GL module or inventory module, any module, now actual connection will be established to the database through app schema, and this will be maintained as long as user is connected.
So BW session will never ever show Apple says pub.
Because it is just connect or authenticate. Still you have any question, ask me. So this is just to make you clear about these backend users and application. But listen, another important thing here. You know, this is like any ERP you talk about. Any ERP in fact. You know, everything they store in database. That is very important in understand. Everything, like e-business suite, SAP, they store everything in the database. You know what? The screen layout, the screen for the form, for the HTML based application, the look and feel, that information is also stored in database. The color, the screen, that is also stored in database. So everything is going to be stored in database. Okay, all the information about the models. So of course application accounts are also going to be stored in database.
But if you create example, like XYZ user in application. So my question is, when I am creating from front end, when I am going to a database and checking the user in the be a user, it is created, that account is created. And how it is created?
No, that's what
I'm
like.
creating through the application.
No, it is not created in. No, it is not created. No? That's what I'm saying. It is not created in DBA users. It is created in FND user.
Right.
FND user.
But when I am checking in by SQL, but when I'm checking it, it is showing me user created, and I have to drop it through the database, not through the application.
When it is created in DBA users,
Yes.
impossible. It is never.
How it is in banner, it has to be when I created a user, it is created. I mean, I'm creating it from the application at front end, but it is reflecting in the database.
Maybe like from the front end application, you are going to create a database account. That's a different thing. Like for example, using OEM or Enterprise Manager, we can create database account. So in that, it is going to store there. If it is you are going to create a database account, then it is going to be in DBA users. If it is an application account, then it is FN user. But I need to check with that banner application what you are saying. But in Oracle E-Business Suite, it is not possible. In Oracle E-Business Suite, whichever application accounts we create, all this is going to be stored in one table. What is that? FND underscore. And another interesting thing is that in E-Business Suite, there is no concept. There is no concept of creating database user. There is a question: do we need to create database user? Are you going to create database? Now see, as a core DBA, I think you may not be feeling good, but it's a fact. Oh, I'm not going to create. I practiced so many times database creation, and what should I do? Okay. So you are not going to create database. In E-Business, there is no concept. You are never, ever, you are going to create database. There is no concept of creating database. You may be doing 100 times, 1000 times cloning. Existing database, clone. But creating a new database, never. So which database we are using? The one which is coming with E-Business. Creating database out of picture. First. Second, creating users, creating table spaces, almost sometimes. Can you tell me when do we need to create database user? When? For every model GL, there is a GL, AP, AR. But do we need to, you think that we need to create a user? Database user, backend user? For every guy who's going to access application model, every employee, we are going to create application accounts. In an organization, if there are 1,000 employees are there, we will create 1,000 accounts, application accounts. But my question is, do we need to create database users? I'm asking. Like something like GL, API, do we need to create? Any situation, any time, anything, any requirement? There is only one reason. You know what? Customization. And even for customization, hardly you may be creating one or two, and after that never. For customization, if you want to create custom table, if the developers want to create custom table, we have to create a custom user. Something like GL, APL. That time you are issuing that command, create user, username, identify that. Otherwise, creating user accounts is never required. Okay? To support what? Customizations. And that to one or two users. And table spaces also you don't need. All the table spaces provided already. So we don't need to create, we don't create table spaces also. So existing only we are maintaining. Anybody, any question still you didn't understand? Because initially it happens like, there's really confusion. Because you are hearing first time application. So you tell me, I'll repeat it. Is it okay, database accounts? And then application account. Now, but again, database accounts are so many. But you look at first which one? Apps. From the connection point of view. Isn't it? For connection only apps is used. And then second one, Apple system. That is for authentication. So during the production time when users are accessing application, only two accounts are coming into picture. Apple system for authentication and apps for connection. If again I repeat, if 100 users are connected, so there will be 100 session apps, all app session. But how do you identify that this session belongs to that user, this session belongs to that user? By session ID, and there are ways are there how to map a database session to an application user. So there is a way is there that we can see. Okay. So that's all. Now the next here we have to see for this same data model, this user password and table spaces. So we look at this information also. You know the default password for this user is this GL, AP, AR. So meaning what? There is a security problem. Right after installation, you must change password. And the password for apps and for Apples is a common password, and the common password is this, apps. So this is the password. And for this. So these are the passwords. So what we are going to do right after installation, we must have to change the password. So there is a utility for password management called FNDC Pass. Using this utility, this is called EDS password management utility. Again, you are not going to issue this command, alter user username identified by password. How do you reset the password? Alter username identified by new password. No, that is not. That's not. So you must change the password for GL, AP, AR using what? This. The reason is this. So you must use this FNDC Pass utility to change this password, because the information about these database users are also maintained in AOL. The information about only information. I say, what does AOL contain? Repository, right? So AOL also maintain information about database users. Okay. For example, look at that in AOL, we have AOL and we have data dictionary. In data dictionary, what's the view name? DB underscore users. And application user information is by FND. Now see here, the information about database user is maintained in AOL. And that is, you know what, FND Oracle user ID. Okay? FND Oracle user ID. So that is basically maintained what? That is the information about FND user. Just I think the name, just check that. FND Oracle ID. FND Oracle ID or user ID. Just user ID is a single word. Just understand that. See, again, when database is created, all these users information is maintained where? DBAs. And when we create application account, where it is going to be stored application accounts? But the information about these database users, because these database users are for application, GL, APR, that's why this information is maintained in this table. So this table maintains the information about database users. FND or the user ID maintained. Suppose if you say alter user username identified by new password, so where change will happen? In data dictionary, not here. So better you should use what? Better you must use using FNDC Pass utility. If you are changing the password for GL, using FNDC Pass utility, when you are changing the password for GL, where change will take place? It is in data dictionary as well as AOL. If you are manually doing, the change will not be in AOL. If you say alter user identified by password, there is a problem. The change will not be in AOL. So that's why you have to use this utility. So change will be there in data dictionary as well as AOL. So reason I am saying here, why you should use this FNDC Pass utility. And again, which accounts we are talking about? This database accounts, right? These are database accounts, right? Database users. This GL, AP, these are database, right? Application users or database? These are database users. Backend users, right? GL, APR, these are backend database users, right? Even if you want to change the password of application accounts, the application user accounts, again you have to use what? FNDC Pass. So if you want to change the password for database accounts and application accounts, managing passwords for database accounts and application accounts. Okay. So this for both, for database and application accounts. Database and application accounts. An application user is calling you and telling that I forgot my password. An application account, a user. So what you have to do? without knowing his password, we can assign another password. With the help of utility FNDC. So you are going to see this FNDC pass later. Just I'm telling you, here you must have to use. And again the question comes here that why there is a common password for apps and FLCs? Why there is a common password? Actually, there is no need to have a two password for our apps and FLCs. Like whenever we are doing some activity, like for example when we are applying patches, so this patch utility has to connect to database to both accounts, apps as well as the FLC systems. Okay? So if a utility, like patch management utility, some utility, if it requires to connect to apps and FLCs, and if the passwords are different, so how many passwords you have to enter? 2 passwords. That means you have to remember 2 passwords. It's a problem, unnecessary. So that no, you remember only 1 password. So when any utility wants to connect to apps or FLCs, how many passwords you have to enter? 1 password. And there is no security problem. Is there any security problem with a single password? 2 user, 1 password, is there any security problem? 2 user, 1 password, security problem? 2 user, same password, security problem?
And actually we are meeting both accounts.
See the reason I am telling you. If one person is going to manage 2 accounts, should it be 2 password or 1 password? 1 password, it doesn't make any sense, right? So we are security, there is no question. 1 person. If there are 2 persons managing 2 accounts, in that case the password must be same or different. So isn't it? 1 person is handling 2 accounts, so the password better save 2 password unnecessary burden. So that's why Oracle is maintaining only 1 password. Oracle is maintaining 1 common password, and so now tell me. Using this utility, I will change this password and I will assign this password for apps 1, 2, 3. Now tell me what is the password for apps? What is the password? Apps 1, 2. Because the utility, this is utility. It's an Oracle utility. It knows that password must be common. So when you change for this, it will change for this also. If you change for this, it will change for that also. So there is nothing reason like there is any main key point, key reason that the password must be simple. It is simple. To make things simple, the password is simple. And the default password is remember.
They use my password in any point. If somebody my senior DV has changed the password, I give him this password as changed. He is not part of it. So I can see the use the password change for app and
See, again, apps password is maintained. That's why again we are going to see later, whenever you change apps password, you have to make configuration changes. Because there are certain files where apps password is maintained. Or there are some database profiles are there where apps password is maintained. But now, in hardware, in the latest release, Oracle has almost protected apps password. Now you cannot see apps password. In 11 it was exposed. In certain files it was maintaining. But now, no more. No more. Again, if you want to find out apps password, there is a detailed, very long, lengthy procedure is there. Oracle has provided some packages, and these through that you can find out the password if you forget apps password. In troubleshooting class we discuss. And now Oracle has came out with another better utility. The difference we will see like AF password. AF password. AF password. This is from 12.1.2. 12.1.2. This is there from 11i. In 11i, also in R12 is there. But there is good features other in apps we will discuss it. AF password utility. So better instead of this what do you call FNDC pass, we can use AF password for doing the same job. It is from 12.1.2. And now we'll also see table spaces. You know table spaces. How many table spaces will be created? So if you look at the table spaces for e-business suite database, the table spaces, you know, there are 2 types of table spaces models we have actually. Table space model. The table space model. Table space model. The old traditional model the new model. New. It's called OATM actually. Oracle Application Table Space Model. And this new is introduced 11 itself, 11.5.9, but still it is the old, the traditional model is still supported. According to the traditional model, there will be 2 table spaces per module. 2 table spaces per module. One for table, one for indexes. Now you look at this example and understand. Let's say you have a GL user. For GL user, okay, what is the user account? GL. And all the GL data will be in GL user, right? For GL user, there will be 2 table spaces. One is, you can say GLD, the other is GLX. D for data, X for indexes. Now you have a user called AP. For AP user, there will be 2 table spaces. APD, APX. For inventory user, again INVB, INVX, table indexes. So what is the problem here? For every, that means if there are 200 products are there, 400 table, unnecessary. 400 table spaces means 400 data points. Now performance problem, maintenance problem, backup problem, checkpoint will give you very good is a problem, checkpoint is a problem. You know what? The modern applications, the current practices, the modern practices for table spaces, we must have less number of table spaces. And in one table space, we should have one data point, not even 2 data. Overall table space must be less. And then a table space should have one data. Let it be large, big, but one data. And look at it. Here, how many table spaces used to be here? How many? Overall total, more than 400. More than 400. Now see here. According to that, only 9, and the recently one is added 10, I will tell you. Only, you can say, you know what? Actually, you know what? 9 table spaces. 9. Just imagine 9 table spaces. Total 9 table spaces. Just imagine how many? Greater than what? 400, more than 400, and now what? 9. How much? How much they have reduced? 50%? 80%? 80? 10? 10%? How much? 2%. 2 na? Yeah, 2%. Then 98% they have reduced. 2%. Just imagine from more than 400 to just 9 table spaces. And these table spaces will be used by all modules. GL, AP, AR, inventory, order management, HR, all manufacturing, CRM module, all modules will be using these 9 table spaces. Earlier separate. GL separate. Inventory separate. HR separate. And 2 in fact. 2. Now let's look at this picture actually. How this. So if you look at what are the users we have? The GL, AP, AR, inventory, all these users now sharing the table spaces. And the default table space for all these users are this, the default table space. Apps, TS, TX, data. Application table space, transaction data. And all the indexes will be maintained here. Apps, TS, TX, IDX. Or see here. Before GL, GLD, AP was using APD, inventory user was INVD, but now common. So all the transaction data for all 200, more than 200 modules where apps, TS, TX, data, indexes will be here. The data and indexes. And then they will be sharing other table spaces also. Like for example, all the, you can say all the seed data, seed means the setup data, setup. All the seed data is here. And all the information about materialized views. Materialized views. Just you note down and we'll see what table this is used for. All the graphics, pictures, media, and all the interface data, the data which is coming from one module to another, all the interface data. Okay. Apps, TS, summary. This is also contain what you call materialized view. This is also materialized view, materialized view. I'll tell you what is the difference between these two materialized views. Again, apps, TS, queues, all the queues data, and this archive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So see. So I'll give you more detail about that, which table space contain what, just to get the idea about this 9 table space, and then plus we have mandatory table space, system, undo, temporary, sysops. Another 4. So those mandatory plus this. This is data, transaction, seed means setup data, logging is materialized view, and this also contain materialized view. Media contain all pictures, graphics, interface contain interface data. There will be a lot of interface between one module to another module. Data coming from one module to another module will be going through this table. And AQ, advanced queue, the Oracle application uses AQ, advanced queue features, all the queues are stored here. And when the data is purged, before the purging data, the data will be backup, data will be archived, and all the archived data will be in archive table space before it is purged. So these are the basic table spaces. So when you install eBusiness Suite, a database is created with all these table spaces. And we are not going to create more table spaces, we are going to maintain these table spaces. Fix. And all these table spaces, all these table spaces are LMT, locally managed table space, all LMT, okay, with automatic segment space management, LMT with a automatic segment space management, and extend size auto allocate. This part you know at the code email level. All table space, this is called OATM, Oracle Application Table Space Model. All table spaces, they are LMT, automatic segment space management, you know in the code email, ASM, LMTD. And then the extent size is not fixed, auto allocate. They are not fixed. Now Oracle people are strongly recommending to its customer that better you migrate to what? OATM. If somebody is using old model still, then better migrate from the old model, the traditional model to the new model. So here you will be having good performance. Because all are locally. Automatic set. Now you don't need to worry about that, free release group, PCT free and all that. That is all automatic segment space management. Because of only one issue we may have, because the extent size is not fixed, it is not uniform. Because extent size is not uniform, it is auto allocate. Because of that, there may be fragmentation issue. So you need to regularly defragment. So we'll discuss in PT class. Look at that, even the information, just imagine this, even the information about table spaces is also maintained in database, in AOL. What is that? FLD underscore table spaces. Everything is going to still. How many table spaces are there? You got the list. You can just take the list from here. Just select star from FLD tables, it will give you the list of all those. So even the information about the table spaces is maintained in AOL. AOL means what? Which table? The moment is AOL is FLD. AOL is FLD. Any question you have here? So we have to do it. Seed. It contains seed data. Seed means setup data. Setup. So don't worry about that. Even if you don't write it, I'll give you at a hideout. I'll give you more information. I'll pass you.
This is unlimited size.
No, unlimited no. No. Unlimited no. Auto extend. Oracle will calculate.
Max size unlimited.
No, unlimited. No. It will like first extend size is 100K, 64K, 80K, then 80, then 60, 80, then like that. That's something different. That is unlimited. That is different. This is the size of each extent. Each extent. It is not going to be too big. Small size. Again, unlimited, limited. Achha, you are talking about that. Yeah.
Auto extend.
Auto extend is unlimited.
Auto extend max size is unlimited.
Unlimited. That will be max size is unlimited. Max size is unlimited. So, well, now you can get this, but I'll provide you more information. Which table space contain what? I'll give you more details on this. But these are two are main first. All the data indexes. And you tomorrow you forget the name of this table space, you look into this table. This table will tell you all how many tables are. If tomorrow if Oracle people is adding more table spaces, so you look at this table, it will tell you what is the new table space has been added. This is very good. So this is one topic we have discussed, e-business suite data model. So understanding about the backend. Do you have any question you can ask? Now we have to look at the front end side. In front end side already we have discussed all the files are organized where? In application type file system. Now we are talking about application front end. Front end is what? Application file system. I think this we can continue tomorrow next. But the main file systems are what? Complete. If you look at AppStar is divided into what? Complete AppStar is divided into what? Tech stack in terms of file system. Tech stack and AppStar. And then what you have? INST. Tech stack means what? Tech stack 10.1, 10.3 and 10.1.2. Okay, so these are the variables. This is called actually Oracle Home, and this is called IIS Oracle Home. So how many Oracle homes are there in Tech Stack? 2 homes. IIS Home, Oracle Home. Oracle Home is what? 10.1. And this is you know that this is web. And this is tools. Again coming to AppStack. Under AppStack what do you have? You have actually Apple in common. Apple is represented by a variable. What's the variable name? What's the variable name? Apple. Common is represented by common. And INST is represented by what? So look at here. Oracle Home, IIS Oracle Home, Oracle Home, Apple Top, Common Top, INST Top. That's it. These are areas. And you know that here all technology files are there. Actual application files are there. Actual application files are in Apple Top and Common Top. Actual application files are in Apple Top and Common Top. And where are configuration file? INST Top. This part we will continue tomorrow only. Tomorrow next session we will discuss more in detail. And we have a detailed discussion on data model, e-business suite data model. So same way we will be having detailed discussion about this application file system. So you must understand which file is located where, in which directory. All the detailed picture you must get. There are forms, reports, source code, executable code, configuration file, log files. When you are going to change configuration, you must know the location. When you are troubleshooting, you must know the log files. Where is Apache log file? Where is the other Apache log file or OC4J, JServe log files, the JVM log files, etc. But there are only top 4 here. four or five you can say variable in terms of Oracle Home, IS Oracle Home, Apple Top, Common Top, and HTML. And in fact, these are only Oracle Home files. The main for you is abstract. Under abstract, what? Apple Top, Common Top, and HTML. So you have to mainly work with this. You mainly have to work with this. Apple Top, Common Top, and HTML. That's it. How many the subdirectories files are there in Apple Top and Common Top and INSTop? That's it. That's it. Only Apple Top, Common Top, and INSTop. That's it. If you know what is there inside Apple Top, Common Top, and INSTop, you know everything about file system. Every file you can look at. Every single file of e-business suite is maintained here. Apple Top, Common Top, this. Okay. So what is Oracle Home? Is a variable. You know, one directory which is a. So similarly, you have Apple Top is a variable, which is going to, there is a one top directory, there is one separate directory for Common Top. So all the application files are maintained here. So we'll be discussing more about this Apple Top, Common Top, INSV Top, application file system. See, once you see more demos and once we go further now, your all concept will be very clear. Huh? Like understanding this file system, understanding application accounts, understanding database accounts, and all will be very clear. But the good thing is, you must try to make things clear before you see practice. That is great. That is important. You must try to understand the picture before you see. After seeing, everybody will believe. What is it? Before you have to understand. That is good. Correct? I see, I believe. Everybody sees. I don't see, I believe. That is important. That is the real faith, right? I don't see, I believe. That's the real faith.